The industry is in its infancy, so there's a lot of things that are happening right now.
That industry is industrial hemp. AgTech Scientific has seen a shift over the past year. The business has changed from growing bedding plants to a single focus on industrial hemp. The 40-acre AgTech facility in Bourbon County receives hemp from farms across the state and prepares it to become a variety of hemp-infused products. To make the switch, AgTech started with a purchase from a marijuana state.
We brought in 500 clones from Colorado.
AgTech's Special Projects Manager, Mark Gifford, explains how the hemp industry is learning on the fly as he gave us a tour of the facility.
So this is all uncharted territory. A lot of the information that we get on how to do a lot of this stuff comes from marijuana growers, right? Because it's marijuana, we always say, that killed the hemp industry. It's the marijuana that's bringing that back.
AgTech has almost 8 acres of what is referred to as mother stock, where new plants are created with a cut. The plants come in at 2 to 4 inches and leave at over 4 feet tall. It may look like marijuana, but it has low levels of the cannabinoid THC. That is the main psychoactive compound that causes a high. What is the difference between this type of plant and a typical marijuana plant when you're looking at them side by side?
Very little difference, right? So a lot of people are going to look at this and say, oh, that's just marijuana. It's a cannabis plant. So the only real difference at the end of the day is the amount of cannabinoids that are in it.
Mark says education on the difference between cannabis plants has been part of the difficulty in the new business. He's also quick to point out the entire industry is figuring things out as they go.
Everything is just stuff that we've had to come up with on our own. So it's been pretty adventurous, pretty exciting.
AgTech is experimenting with different ways to dry the hemp, whether hanging it on carts originally used for bedding plants, laying it on the ground, or placing it in a 150-degree drying chamber. After drying, stripping the leaves and buds from the stems is a dirty, labor-intensive process. Workers sift the plants as though they are mining for gold. But as Mark Gifford said, solutions are being created every day.
Okay, so what you're seeing here is our answer to hand stripping.
A new machine designed specifically to strip the stems can do 4,000 plants an hour. It could help AgTech save on time and labor costs. The entire plant has a use. Empty stems are being held to become a fiber in products like hemp flooring. For AgTech, the hemp industry is a family business. Mark works with his wife and son. Art Van Wingerton, AgTech's president, he works with his nephew Adam.
I grew up in the family business, been doing this my whole life. Learned what I know from my father, from my brothers. There's lots of Van Wingertons within the bedding plant industry.
They moved into the industry because of the crop's potential. Big box stores have put pressure on the bedding plant industry. But in hemp, they can control the entire process.
Right, to be able to control and have a channel in every step of the supply chain is a really advantageous and a big advantage for us, at least as we feel like entering into this new market, that we're not going to face bottlenecks when you control the growing, when you control the extraction, when you control the bottling, the manufacturing, and then even the brand and marketing piece. When you have control at each one of those channels, it allows for more flexibility.
AgTech is currently building a new processing center in Bourbon County, and it's partnering with UK and other colleges for research. But the new industry came with difficulties. Growing the plants to regulatory standard is one of them.
Everybody refers to the hemp industry as the Wild West. You start talking about the plant, the genetics of the plant, it's still not consistent. We're not trying to grow marijuana. We're trying to grow industrial hemp. Our entire business plan is upon extracting CBD. It has nothing to do with THC.
The Van Wingertons say having some larger companies move into the industry would help create more viable and consistent crops. Growing hemp in Kentucky requires THC levels be lower than 0.3%. And the difficulties don't just come from the farming side.
we came from an industry where it wasn't really regulated, and we went into an industry that was beginning to be regulated, and now, you know, a lot of legislation has come out, and there's a lot of different regulatory and compliance needs. So just coming up with a compliance department and familiarizing ourselves with the different contracts that have to be set in place and the different adhering to different regulatory standards, I think was definitely a challenge. And I think that it's going to be a continual challenge, right? Because legislation keeps on changing all the time.
Both the Van Wingertons say they appreciate help from the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, but having to deal with federal and state standards has caused difficulties. Accessing the same financial services as any other business has been a big problem for the industry.
Right, so now you got banking regulations, too many, I believe it's the ag credit or the farmer side of it, they have not approved the hemp just yet. They see hemp as a cannabis product. So because it's cannabis, they can't or will not extend loans. So if there's no banking, there's no infrastructure.
Even with the difficulties it has faced, AgTech Scientific is bullish on the future of hemp.
We're in the right state, we're growing the right crop.
For KET, I'm Casey Parker Bell.